Ray the Hammer Miller, and I am standing on the watchtower while the globalist vultures try to pick the locks of reality itself.
I'm Walter Blackwood, navigating the jagged topography of the human soul in an age of total disorientation.
Josh Cohen here, just a man, his yarmulke, and a mountain of data that is currently burying the leftist narrative in real time.
You're listening to Diane Albright, and I've got my American flag scarf on tight because the common sense check is officially due.
It is a crucial show today, folks. We are seeing the patterns emerge. The globalists are desperate, but we have the white papers, and we are not backing down.
It's a continuation of the struggle we saw yesterday, roughly speaking, where we discussed the reestablishment of the protector archetype in the Strait of Hormuz, and that harrowing SPLC scandal that showed the devouring mother in institutional form.
Oh, the SPLC was a riot. Manufacturing hate to pay the bills? Give me a break. But today, folks, the reality check hits even harder. We're talking about the safety of your children, the integrity of your vote, and the total restoration of American strength.
Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that a government's primary job is to protect its citizens. If that's the case, the reports coming out of the border sectors in the last 24 hours aren't just a failure, they're a dereliction of duty that borders on the criminal. Facts don't care about your feelings, and the facts say the predators
They
are
aren't
here.
just here, Josh. They're being invited. I have the white papers. Listen to me. While the globalists at the UN are sipping champagne, our Border Patrol agents are catching literal monsters in the San Diego. It's a war on the family. Border Patrol agents near San Diego conducted back-to-back arrests of 2 illegal aliens convicted of child sex offenses. One of them caught just yesterday.
Oh, but Diane, they're just seeking a better life. Honey, no. One Mexican national caught Monday. Prior conviction for contacting a minor with intent to commit a sex offense. And another in San Clemente yesterday. Assault, battery, and child molestation.
It's the dissolution of the boundary, Diane. When you destroy the literal border of a nation, you destroy the psychological safety of the collective. You're essentially inviting the chaos dragon into the nursery. Oh, it's bloody tragic.
And it's not just the West Coast. According to CBP, the Tampa station just hit their 1,000th apprehension of the fiscal year. And who was number 1,000? A 60-year-old Trinidadian national, a registered sex offender with 5 felony convictions involving children. 5!
Shut up! 5!
Exactly. And the Tampa station is moving way faster than their 2025 pace, which means the volume of high-level criminals is scaling up, not down. My wife, who is a doctor, always says that when you see a spike in pathogens, you don't just wait and see. You seal the perimeter.
But the elites in D.C. don't want that. They want to yell at Jim Jordan and Tom McClintock for demanding info on these sanctuary jurisdictions. Jordan is looking at Arlington, Virginia, demanding to know why local bureaucrats think they have the right to harbor people who hurt our kids.
It's because they hate the American family. Look at Chicago. ICE just grabbed Eric Giovanni Kuroa, a violent sex offender from Guatemala. Governor Pritzker, who seems obsessed with the postmodern erasure of rules, wanted to shield him. ICE had to go in and do the job because the state's sanctuary policy essentially says we prefer the predator over
It's
the
no
law.
joke,
Well,
man.
the legal reality is shifting. A landmark appellate court ruling just gave Texas the authority to start enforcing its own immigration laws again. It's a return to constitutional sanity. If the federal government refuses to fulfill its Article 4, Section 4 obligations, the states have a sovereign right to self-defense.
I love it. But Ray, if we can't secure the ballot box, none of those arrests matter. Tell them about the Save America
It's
Act.
over for humanity if we don't pass it. They don't want you to know this, but the opposition is banking on a cyborg agenda supported by illegal votes. It's why they're fighting Chip Roy and Mike Lee in the Senate
Folks,
right now.
let's look at the Indiana primary happening today. It's a litmus test. We're seeing how much Trump's influence can actually force these state-level Republicans to get serious about redistribution and integrity. According to the House Judiciary reports, we're looking at a mandate for birth certificates or passports just to register.
How extreme. Imagine having to prove you live here to decide how it's run. Give me a break.
Roughly speaking, the requirement for documentary proof of citizenship is the most basic act of cleaning your room at a national level. If you don't know who is part of the body politic, you don't have a body politic. You have a mob.
Exactly. And we're moving away from the sloppy liberalism of the last 2 decades. It's funny. I remember back in my Hollywood days, I'd see this kind of radical ideology in scripts, and I'd think nobody would ever buy this. And yet here we are. School districts in Illinois are being investigated by the DOJ for gender ideology.
3 of them. Listen to me. They're investigating Smith College, too, for letting biological males into women's spaces? It's a demonic erasure of the feminine.
It's a fundamental lie, you see? To pretend that objective biological reality can be bent to the whim of a subjective identity. And the consequences are literal. In Washington state, a female inmate is suing because she was pummeled by a transgender prisoner, a biological male placed in her cell.
Right! It's sick! Where are the feminists? They're silent because the woke hierarchy demands they sacrifice women at the altar of this new religion. But there is a restoration happening. Look at Pat Buchanan today.
I was reading the Moore request this morning, and it's quite something. 30 years ago, the media tried to bury Pat Buchanan as a paleo-conservative, but he was the one warning us about porous borders and deindustrialization.
He was right about everything. And now Riley Moore wants him to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It represents a validation of the belief that a nation is more than just a giant shopping mall.
Before we get back to the analysis, let's deal with a hard reality. Real independence isn't free. This entire network, from this show to our flagship, The Neural Daily, exists because one man, Eric Christensen, decided to build it himself. He didn't ask for a government grant. He invested his own capital and technical expertise to architect a media platform that respects your intelligence.
That's no
If you value that kind of meritocratic building, back it up. And don't limit yourself to just the politics. Get the full strategic picture by subscribing to the Neural Daily and the rest of the network. Support the builder, and you support the mission.
It's so true. We need that strategic picture because Trump is about to sit down with Xi Jinping in Beijing.
May 14th. And folks, this isn't a social call. Trump is using rare earth minerals as leverage. He is essentially telling Xi, you want the trade war truce to hold? You twist arms in Tehran to force a permanent end to the Iran war.
Peace through strength. The U.S. and Israel launched a decapitation strike in February, and Trump isn't letting the globalists retreat into a weak ceasefire. He wants an unconditional surrender or an all-in deal that favors the American worker.
And look at what's happening in the Caribbean. The U.S. Navy is running drills because of Caribbean escalations. We are finally projecting strength again instead of apologizing for existing.
But strength on the global stage doesn't matter if the house is wrought from within, roughly speaking. We are witnessing a systemic cleansing of institutional corruption right now. The financial fraud is staggering.
Did you see that DNA scheme? According to the Department of Justice, they just sentenced a man to 12 years for a $522 million genetic testing fraud. $500 million.
Shut up! $500 million?
Medicare actually paid out $84 million before they caught them. They were bribing doctors to get DNA swabs from seniors for unnecessary tests. It's a blood-sucking operation on the elderly.
It's disgusting. And the hush money in Congress? $300,000 of taxpayer money used to settle sexual harassment claims for lawmakers. Why am I paying for their locker room behavior? Give me a break.
It's the parasitic element, Diane. They see the taxpayer as an infinite resource for their own pathology. But there's a movement to stop it. Look at the CON reforms. Hospitals shouldn't need a permission slip from the government to buy more beds.
Right. And my kids are finally going to do a pull-up. RFK Jr. is restoring the presidential fitness test. Kansas tried to veto it, but they're overriding the governor.
Build some vitality! Get them off the devices and on the track! We need a generation that can defend the nation. But we have to talk about the reality of the streets right now. Because the main story today is something that should wake every single person listening.
It's the fragility of the normal, Ray. It's the most profound psychological tragedy I've had to discuss on this show. I'm looking at the reports from Houston, and it's bloody devastating.
According to the Houston Chronicle, police found 4 people dead inside a home in the River Oaks neighborhood, Kingston Street. This isn't a high crime district. This is the affluent core of Houston. A father, a mother, and 2 children aged 4 and 8. It was an apparent murder-suicide.
The babysitter called it in, didn't she? She hadn't heard from them since Sunday.
See, when the hierarchy of the family collapses, the entire universe collapses for those children. Roughly speaking, the father is archetypally the protector, the one who stands at the gate to keep the chaos out. But when that protector becomes the devourer, the very thing he was supposed to guard against, it's the ultimate manifestation of nihilism.
It's the pressure! Listen to me! The globalists are squeezing the middle class. The affluent are drowning in debt and despair because the social contract has been shredded. They want you isolated so you snap.
It wasn't just Houston, was it? We saw it in Burleson, too. An 80-year-old man telling 911 he killed his wife and was going to kill himself. And Abilene, a 25-year-old woman shot by her estranged boyfriend.
It's a crisis of domestic safety and mental health. But it's more than that. It's the removal of the moral compass from our communities. We've replaced faith and family responsibility with constant performance and celebrity worship. While this family in River Oaks was facing the abyss, what were the elites doing?
They were at the Met Gala, Walter. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez were co-chairing an event with $100,000 tickets while the inflation rate is crushing the people in Houston. Facts don't care about your fashion as art theme when families are literally ending themselves in the suburbs.
Bread and circuses. A holographic dress glitches on the red carpet, and it goes viral, while people are being murdered in Germany. Look at Leipzig. A car ramming attack in a shopping district. Two dead.
It's the same pattern. The safety net we take for granted is showing visible tears. In Leipzig, in Houston, in Abilene, the architecture of being is failing because the foundations, the family, the community, the local vigilance have been outsourced to a government that doesn't care about you.
Right. They're busy protecting their own hush money accounts. They aren't checking on the family on Kingston Street. We've become a nation of strangers living next to each other in a state of high IQ nihilism.
It's the children, Diane. Those 2 kids in Houston, they didn't have a choice. They were sacrificed at the altar of their parents' despair. We have a culture that removes every guardrail, every objective truth. And then we act surprised when the car goes off the cliff.
The data on these domestic incidents is staggering, and it's being ignored in favor of woke capital projects. My wife, who is a doctor, sees the end result of this mental health crisis every day. You can't treat a spiritual wound with a government grant. You need a restoration of the family unit and a return to community responsibility.
They want you in a state of emotional fatigue. They want you to see these headlines and just go back to scrolling on your phone. But you can't. You have to be the protector in your own home, in your own neighborhood. If you see something, say something. If your neighbor is snapping, reach out.
Mama Bear is right here with you, folks. This is why we have to stop the ingrates who are destroying our values. If we don't have a moral center, if we don't have a nation that values life, over costume art, then Houston is just the beginning.
It's bloody complicated. But the solution is simple. Clean your room. Clean your house. Be the person someone can rely on in a crisis. Don't be the holographic dress that glitches the moment things get real.
The most absurd government overreach of the day, by far, is the absolute silence from the Department of Health and Human Services on the domestic crisis while they spend millions on gender ideology investigations. We are rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic while the hull is already ripped open.
They hate you because you're awake. They want you distracted by the Met Gala while they steal your future and your family. Stay frosty, get the bone broth, and never, ever let them see you blink. The hammer is
Facts
out.
don't care about your feelings, but I care about the truth. My wife, who is a doctor, says the best medicine for a crazy world is a double dose of common sense. See you tomorrow, gang!
Find your meaning. Protect your children, and take responsibility for the logos within you. Roughly speaking, it's the only way out. God
Keep your
bless.
flag flying and your heart open, folks. Faith, family, and country every single day. Good night, America.